Hi, for the next few minutes we'll be talking about token charts. A token chart is a great way to help children know what they will need to do to earn a break or a reward. A token chart is used to space out the number of reinforcers a child needs. Many children start out with one-to-one reinforcement, so they do one activity and get one reward. A token chart gives the adult the opportunity to space out these rewards. Remember, just like the other strategies that we've already talked about, this must be done slowly and over time. A few quick tips. Remember, this is all about reinforcement. If I were to offer you $100 for running 50 feet, many of you would say, "Sure, tell me when to start." However, if I told you that I would offer you $100 to run 1 mile, or worse yet, 50 miles, most of you would say, "No thanks." So it's important to keep the amount of activities or tasks in line with what they are earning. So if they are earning 5 minutes on the iPad, then you want to keep your activities or demands pretty low. Remember, as you're moving through this process of a token chart, it's important that you don't get into power struggles. Never take away tokens from a child. If they've earned a token, they get to keep it. Finally, as we look through a few examples, you'll see how simple token charts can be. It's really important to remember that they don't have to be fancy. They just have to work for you and your loved one. You can use objects like stickers or pennies or poker chips as tokens. You can even have paper and pen and simply draw squares and use check marks to indicate that an individual has earned a token. The key is it has to be reinforcing for the loved one. If they are not understanding that a check mark means that they've done good things and have completed a specific activity, then you're going to need to up what you are doing so that they better understand that. Here's an example of a token chart. The one on the left has been completed, and the one on the right is something that you could easily recreate at your home. On the left, we did print this out, but if you don't have access to a printer, again, you can simply use paper and pen. The key components to a token chart are: 1, a box that indicates what the individual is working for. This can be an item or activity. And second, it includes a number of boxes that an individual will be earning tokens. The example on the left indicates that the individual has to complete 3 activities to access the reward. The example on the right indicates that they need to complete 5 activities to access the reward. As the adult in this situation, you get to choose what exactly the activity looks like, what the expectation is for them to complete in order to access the reward. I will caution you and encourage you at the same exact time to be very supportive and encouraging of the individual to access that reward. The more opportunities an individual has to be successful in accessing a reward means a greater likelihood that this token chart will work for you and your loved one in the future. It also can be very reinforcing for us as the caregiver to have those positive experiences. When an individual is selecting what they're going to be working for, it's important that the options that they're provided are things that are readily available and that you would be okay with them selecting. So if the bag of Cheetos is empty, then that's not going to be a good option for something that they're going to work for. If it's raining outside and you really don't like to be outside in the rain, then you're going to want to make sure that your sign for outside is not an option whenever they're selecting what they're working for. Another piece to keep in mind whenever you're talking about what an individual is working for, it's very important to remember that this should never be the item or object that they use to stim with. It should not be that they're working for time to stim. It also should not be that they are working for a specific piece or part of their meal or their beverage for a meal. These are things that are above and beyond what they would be typically accessing throughout the day. So if they are working for Cheetos, then that's a special snack, not as part of their meal. And if they're working to go play outside, that's in addition to active play that's already been built into their schedule. It's super important, especially in these trying times, that we are encouraging an individual to take the breaks that they need and also to engage in whatever stimming behaviors or other activities that help to regulate them. Here are 3 additional examples of token charts. Again, on the left, we have that the individual is working for Cheerios, so that would be a special treat for this individual. You can also see that on that specific token chart, that individual might really like dinosaurs, so having the pictures of the dinosaurs in and of themselves is also reinforcing. In the example on the right, the individual is working for time on the iPad. If you choose to use things that do not have a specific end, like time on electronic devices or reading a book, then you'll want to make sure that they have an understanding of time. That doesn't mean that they understand what 5 minutes is, but maybe you use a time timer or another device so that they understand that their time on the iPad is time limited. That means that while I'm working for the iPad, that doesn't mean that I get it for the rest of the day. That means that I might get it for 5 or 10 minutes. And then it has to go off, and I'll use the token board again to earn more time on the iPad or some other fun activity. Again, as we talked about at the very beginning, token boards don't have to be complicated. These use pennies, these use pictures, so be creative and try out a few and see what works best for your family. I hope that you have learned how token charts might be implemented in your own household. A great tip is to reach out to your child's teacher and see if they have used token charts in the past. If they have, they might even have them in a digital file that they could email you so that you can print them out or recreate them by hand. If your child has been using token charts at school, if you can incorporate them in a similar way at home, this might help to decrease the learning curve for your loved one and for you. If an individual is familiar with the token chart and how they are being used, it will speed up the learning process for everyone involved in the new environment. I wish you the best of luck. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the staff at the Kentucky Autism Training Center. We're here for you. Take care and be well.